world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from. My name is MD90 and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss any upload as it comes up. And if you're new to the channel or you've been here for a while, the easiest way for you to move around or to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest in that. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, make sure you consider becoming a member of the channel. So on the subscribe button, you see a join button there. Make sure you become a member so that you support the team on the production. And catch you around. Well, even in his death, it looks like Edgar Lungu is going to dominate the Zambian political landscape of 2026 general elections that are happening in August. As you may be aware, we lost our former president last year on 5th June 2025. And since then, there's been a legal battle in court between the Zambian government and the Lungu family. I'm pretty sure by now you know all those details around that. But in as much as he's been dead for now close to 7 months, it seems like everyone is counting on his endorsement. There's a conversation on which candidate he had left and had endorsed before his death, and then everyone is speculating. Everyone is claiming to be the candidate that he had chosen or endorsed because, realistically speaking, on the ground, he seems to have carried still that political clout because he is a former head of state. So everyone is trying to count on that, getting the support from the grassroots based off Edgar Lungu's tenure of office. So Daily Liberation carries this headline, simply says, Lungu wanted me to be Makebi's running mate. That's Mumbipiri. So that's a statement that is being attributed to Mumbipiri, who was should be Secretary General of the Patriotic Front right before she was arrested. Should have been 2021, if not right after that. Yeah, she was arrested and jailed in Western Province for a couple of, I think a year or less, thereabout, and then later on released. So it seems like after she was released, Edgar Lungu wanted her to be the running mate and Makebi Zulu to be the presidential candidate of the Patriotic Front. But obviously, that's news that has just come to public light, which was carried by Kalemba, which also say Edgar Lungu anointed Makebi Zulu as a presidential candidate with me as his running mate. Mumbipiri shares. So a number of people are saying, everybody's speculating and giving 2 cents on which candidate that Edgar Lungu had chosen right before his death. And Shifateri has seconded a statement simply saying she's actually telling the truth. I went to her house and told her that I do not accept Kebi Zulu as president. So it seems like Shifateri was aware of this conversation where Edgar Lungu chose Makebi Zulu as the presidential candidate and Mumbipiri as a running mate. And then Shifateri says he even went to Mumbipiri's house to go and tell her to say he does not accept does not accept Makebi Zulu as the presidential candidate, but it seems like he was comfortable with Mumbipiri being a running mate of whoever was chosen. And at the time, Shifetari was more inclined to Brand Mundubile to be the candidate for the Patriotic Front, and then obviously Edgar Lungu did not choose him, but everybody is bringing out their 2 cents on this. If you remember, even last week, a number of people acknowledged that actually Edgar Lungu had chosen Makebi Zulu to be the presidential candidate, and it seems like Mumbili was running it. But the reality is that Edgar Lungu didn't have the courage enough to stand behind their candidate. Because realistically speaking, since Michael Sata, every other candidate or whoever has fight for presidency needed the endorsement of others. The only person that carried the Patriotic Front as a presidential candidate and everybody depended on was Michael Sata. He was a popular candidate and everybody submitted to Michael Sata. But with Edgar Lungu, if you remember this, the strong candidates at the time, it was Shimbagambwiri, GBM, and then Given Winter, and a number of other Winter Kawimba, and a number of other candidates that were strong to take over after Michael Sata. But Edgar Lungu wasn't one of them. So he ended up being chosen because he was a candidate that everybody thought, I know, let him be there and it will be easy to control him. And that's the situation. But he carried on the same situation because even Michael Sata himself did not choose a candidate when his health was dwindling. Instead of endorsing or choosing Edgar Shakalungu as a candidate, he just kept on giving him more positions to make it obvious to say that's the one that is more preferred to. The same thing with Edgar Shakalungu. Instead of standing behind his decision and make it public to say he wants Makebi Zulu and Mumipiri to be candidates, he knew the others, the ones who can carry the party, who are going to shift camp. And it's going to happen anyway. It has eventually happened inevitably. And obviously, Maxwell Chongo also weighs in over the issue. He says, stop these lies. Edgar Shakalungu only had 2 leaders in mind. So Max Chongo also weighs in to say, it's actually Nawakwi and Harikarawa that were chosen. So everybody is throwing in their time. This goes to show, even in his death, Edgar Shakalungu is running the opposition pretty much. Like everyone is trying to get that endorsement that they can carry on the ground and use as leverage when going to approach the electorates in different provinces and different towns and villages, to say this is the anointed person from Edgar Shakalungu. Hence, because if you love Edgar Shakalungu and you want his body to be buried in Zambia, elect this candidate. See, it seems like that's what everyone else is counting on. So Max Chongo, this is the chairperson for youths in Citizen First Party, that's Harikarawa's party, and he says, stop lying. Edgar Shakalungu preferred choice for endorsement was as follows. If you may wish to ask former First Lady or bodyguard, ADC, they will tell you that Edgar Shakalungu, after 2021 loss, confided in Max Chongo and many on many political issues. Meaning Edgar Shakalungu confided in him. I highly doubt that. And the people that he chose led Edith Nawakwi, that's one person that he confided in, and also President Harikarawa. Edgar Shakalungu was actually scared and thought of endorsing certain leaders from opposition who he said could become worse to a point of, he was fond of jokingly saying, worse than HH Wawapo. So Awamapo. So simply saying he thought some of the candidates within the Patriotic Front would have been worse, and Hakainde Hichilema would have been even better than them. So pretty much he's bringing out the point to say Edgar Shakalungu endorsed late Edith Nawakwi and Harikarawa, probably Harikarawa as the presidential candidate and Edith Nawakwi as the running mate. It seems like everybody's got their version of this story. But in other news, as you may be aware, the court battle still lingers on. So Zingindaba, Jonah Buyoya, that's the former Diamond TV journalist now working with the BBC. He reports that the Lungu family has until next week, Thursday, to file their appeal in South Africa over the repatriation for former President Edgar Shakalungu's body. If they do not, the government of the Republic of Zambia would be at liberty to proceed with the burial plans. GRZ says they have not received a notice of appeal. So simply saying a deadline has been put on the appeal case that is in South Africa. So the lawyers for Edgar Shakalungu's family are supposed to appeal before next week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday is going to be the 12th of February. So next week, Thursday, 12th of February, if they do not file in that appeal, meaning the Zambian government can get the body from South Africa and bring it to Zambia for burial process. And if they file that appeal case, then obviously the legal battle continues. They have to start making their submissions in court. And obviously it's going to run its course until it gets probably at the Constitutional Court of South Africa. So we wait and see how that, because right now it's moving into the Supreme Court of South Africa. So we wait and see how that plays out. So in as much as back home here, people are using Edgar Shakalungu's name as an endorsement for their political run, the battle lingers on in South Africa, and the deadline has been put by next week, Thursday. If the lawyers do not file that appeal, the Zambian government will be at liberty to bring back his body and bury him in Zambia. But one of the news that has been trending the past couple of hours, last 24 hours, is this lady that you see on screen. That's Livingstone mayor. So as you may be aware, she was in court for allegations of corruption that had happened some time back, and she was fighting it out. And this case has received not even mixed feelings. An overwhelming majority of Zambians feel it's justice denied. She was supposed to be found guilty, and this is why. But the details are in the case. According to Phoenix FM, they say Livingstone Magistrate Court has acquitted Livingstone Mayor Constance Mukelewai on 2 counts of corrupt practice. Delivered in judgment this morning, Senior Lusaka Magistrate Court Trevor Kasanda, sitting in Livingstone, found Ms. Mukelewai not guilty on 2 offenses linked to corrupt soliciting of funds from Mark Gibbets, the owner of Zammuka Farm Limited. Magistrate Cassandra ruled that the state failed to prove allegations leveled against her, Livingstone City, against the Livingstone City mother beyond reasonable doubt, on the basis of Mr. Mark Gibbs' refuted claims of solicitation when he testified before court. Allegations were that Ms. Mukelewai, between August 1st and September 31st, 2023, as a Livingstone mayor, corruptly solicited 120,000 kwacha from Mark Gibbets. In the second count, it was alleged that during the same period, the mayor corruptly solicited and obtained 180,000 in cash as bribe to facilitate 100% remuneration of property rights owed to the Livingstone City Council by that's Zammuka Farm Limited. However, the court found that the evidence presented was insufficient to sustain the charges and has consequently acquitted Ms. Mukelewai on both counts. So now, this is what has caused the reaction. So, Mashaka Akashambata, this is the UPND supporter based in the US, and he says the case in Livingstone involving Mayor has left a very bad taste in my mouth. The state should appeal. So simply saying like, wait a second. So she was found with the case to answer, but then again she's acquitted. So it's not making sense to anybody from the legal fraternity, from laymen. It's clearly not sitting well. And another person from the US, this is George Mutonga. This is another UPND supporter based in the US also. And he tags the Anti-Corruption Commission, and he says, I'm on record. What the United Party for National Development, the UPND manifesto, says on corruption. The UPND party is clear. Corruption is a national threat that destroys public service, weakens institutions, and steals from ordinary Zambians. That is why the UPND manifesto commits to zero tolerance on corruption. And he put up a video. I'm pretty sure you should have seen it on this channel by now, where he's simply saying it doesn't make sense. You've proven, like evidence was proven to say she actually solicited for that money, but then again she's been found innocent, so it's not adding up. So that's the reaction. And then Mashaka Kashamba, the double down, he says, did she receive the money to illegally remove the land rates? Those of you defending this should never ever complain about lack of development in your area. So she was like, it's not making sense. Hey, if she did that, then why has she been found innocent? So that's another UPND supporter. That's still Mashaka Kashamba there. And another person, Tamara Chanda, weighs in and says, as I was saying, I was saying the same thing yesterday. You cannot say we are serious about the fight against corruption, but then go around being selective on how the law is applied. Sis was guilty. It was very clear as day. So, so you can see the public reaction here. Everybody, I've not found a positive comment. As opposed to the people that are endorsing innocence, have just opted to be silent. But the people that are voicing out are like, it's not adding up. Lawyers have weighed in. The evidence has been proven. Yes, she was solicited. Then how has she been found innocent? Because that's the ruling that came out. And Laura Mitch also weighed in to say, this is what the court said in response to the demeaning findings. The Livingstone mayor walked away and thanked God for. She broke into him, obviously, back in absolute sense, nonsense. And then she says, the court said this. Upon careful consideration, this is part of the judgment that came out from court as extracted by Laura Miti, which was shared by obviously George Mtonga and a number of UPND supporters. And he says, upon careful consideration of evidence adduced by the prosecution, the court is satisfied that the state has established that the accused did corruptly solicit a cash gratification in a sum of 120,000 kwacha. The purpose of this solicitation was to secure, to secure for Zamnuka Farm Limited, a private body, the full remission of 100% to its outstanding property rates owed to the Livingstone Council. So that's the part people are not adding. I mean, it's not making sense to people. If the evidence is overwhelming that she did solicit that amount, whether it be it 120, 180, the numbers are different, but the fact that that was solicited for. So on what grounds has she been found innocent? So that's what's not adding up. And obviously, after court celebrations of the mayor there. But you can say, now people are asking to say, this does not sit well because it might have been the UPND strategy to avoid a by-election in Livingstone. But the reality is that it might cost the UPND more by keeping when the public reaction is against this, the double standards seem to be evident. Because clearly, if the UPND was to fire her or pretty much cause a by-election in Livingstone, they will still retain the seat. That's pretty obvious. So then why keep someone pretty much bite the bullet for a person that seems to be costing the party more? And you can see the supporters are like, I'm not buying it. It's whoever has decided to defend her. In this case, it seems like on the ground, the reflection is different. So it might end up costing them in August elections as they go. George doubled down. He went further to tag the Anti-Corruption Commission and he shared the same verdict. I mean, the ruling that came from the court the court itself has said, yes, the evidence is overwhelming and yes, she did solicit the money. So if it's an issue of the amounts and which person she solicited the money from, how does that change the fact that no, she did solicit the money? And and then he tags the Anti-Corruption Commission and says, that's George Mtonga. The Anti-Corruption Commission, mule munekera feki, pali kesi yaku Livingstone. 5 pin kuna konde board and much of some statements. So simply saying, you remove a lot of statements when simple money like 5,000 is stolen in Nakonde. But on this case, the dignity of your work is that all of us will be treated the same. 2 pin, 10 pin, mayor, council, security guard before you. It should be the same. But unfortunately, it seems to be different. It goes down there. And then people Lungu amavutika Zambia. I thank God. Obviously, Laura Miti there attaches the same celebratory statement of the Livingstone mayor where she's celebrating the verdict. Same court said, you obtained money corruptly, Madam Mayor. That is not in dispute. So you can see the court has said, yes, she did that. But then on what grounds has she been found innocent? Then she brings in the president. This is Laura Miti's statement. She says, then she brings in the president and the ruling party, I guess suggesting that the leadership of this country is all right with elected officials using their office to solicit money. Ni campaign on Safa, pretty much the campaign on Afa, or whatever she's saying there. I don't know what that statement is, but yeah, she's simply saying it does not add up because if she's been found guilty of those allegations, then on what grounds has she been found innocent? And it's not looking good for the UPND, quite honestly. The best thing would have just been pretty much let the verdict be according to what the court has said, and then go for by-elections. And obviously, the UPND will retain the seat. Unlike risking the general elections results in Livingstone or pretty much on the ground, because it's not looking good for especially the general elections in August are going to be on the people that are on the fence. Obviously, the opposition has got people that will never vote for the UPND, and the UPND has got people that will never vote for the opposition. That is fine. Those numbers are fine. But the deciding factor are people on the fence that simply look at objectivity and look at the facts on the ground. And this case does not sit well, because if you remember, another case that caused the uproar was the situation of the ECZ chairperson's daughter, Maria's Lomes. Remember that case also caused another uproar from the public. So it seems like the cases are piling up of selective implementation of justice, and public are judging. So maybe this biting of the bullet on behalf of the Livingstone mayor, they should have let this one slide and just let it be as it is. She needs to resign. So George says, okay, fine. If the court will not do it, she needs to resign on moral grounds. I don't see that happening. Why would she? Obviously, people are weighing in. And then a newspaper extract says, court frees Livingstone mayor. She got money, but it wasn't corruption. That's the court headline. You say, wait a second. So she did get the money, then it's not corruption. On what grounds it's not corruption? So this is where it's not adding up. A number of people are weighing in. It's not sitting well. But anyway, they are free to do as they wish. August is just around the corner. This might cost them. I hope this biting of the bullet on behalf of the Livingstone mayor is worth it. Because if not, they might regret it at the end of the day. The Mast newspaper says government commends the Mast. Continue with your professionalism. That's Tabokawana when you visited them. PFX says Munduire, 13 others. Obviously, that headline, you know. Makebi pleads with Catholics to impress upon President Hakainde Hichilema to ask him to demand that the patriotic funds should be given back to the legitimate owners. Warning that August elections without participation of the former ruling party will not be free and will not be free, fair, or credible, she says. And then Newsdiggers says we still have thieves in government. They wanted to spend 10 million kwacha to fix a hospital crack. That's the Minister of Health, Muchima. He says corruption is still evident within the government. Yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but yeah, that's a news headline. And overall, I think the verdict in Livingstone should have been what the public expected, because the justification is not even there, because you can even see it. Even the people that are supporting her, they cannot use any evidence to argue a case. They've opted to be quiet. And as others are presenting evidence to say, hey, on what grounds has she won that case? But anyway, it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's wait and see how it plays out. And that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Have a beautiful day.